Welcome to Sheriff's Talk, a public affairs program of KWN TV7. Join us every week as we talk various aspects of law enforcement and how important it is for the citizens and law enforcement to work together. Now join us for another edition of Sheriff Talk on KWN Live and Local TV Channel 7. And welcome into another edition of Sheriff Talk here on KWN TV. Got bilateral, that's a medical term, bilateral sheriffs here, one on each side. Welcome to both of y'all. We finally got both of y'all together, and that is good. And we thank you for joining us here on KWN TV as we take a look at law enforcement and things that are happening around the tri-state area. And Sheriff, I mean, there's been several things going on, but we were just talking as we went on. Y'all actually recovered a body inside of a car. Mm-hmm. And where exactly was that at?
It's on the game reserve on Suck Creek, Prentice Cooper. We had a TBI and a TWRA. Of course, my guys were there, and they worked the case and actually resolved it. Made an arrest on it next day, and I think actually the incident happened in Hamilton County. They just used that area to dispose of the car and the body, but I think Hamilton County authorities are going to file charges on and I'm sorry I don't have his name right now, but they're actually in Marion County Jail is a man and a woman, and I think they went up for a bond hearing, and I believe the bond was set at maybe $100,000, $75,000. Anyhow, if they make bond in Marion County, then they'll be transferred to Hamilton County to face additional charges, probably murder of some kind. So, without going into the case a whole lot, it was, everybody jumped on it, and it got resolved quickly. It's just.
So a female was involved too?
Yeah, actually, a female was, my understanding was, fathered the. I think the guy might have been her boyfriend. Followed him up there he took the car up there and burned it up and everything. And she's charged in Marion County with accessory after the fact. But
I think she was from Huntsville or somewhere.
But she was actually a student at Chattanooga State. My understanding. I think when they went actually arrested that afternoon, she was in night classes at Chattanooga State. And I'm sitting there going, how can you be involved in that morning and go to night classes? I hope I got my facts right, but it's been, we all worked together, Hamilton County and everybody. My guys went over there Friday afternoon, stayed late working with Hamilton County, so we found the residence where the incident happened at, and Chattanooga and Hamilton County, took it over. And I think after all was said and done, TBI is going to handle both cases in both counties, so yay for TBI. But they do a good job. We work good together. It's got resolved quickly, and that's what we talk about over and over. These cases, just because it happened here or Hamilton County, it could flop over to my county. It could happen in Hamilton County, my county, and flop over to Ray's County. But that's right. You got to have a good relationship. Cause
and I dare say I'll make this statement. I think probably in the history that I have. I've been around, I'm going to say in the last 40 years, we've probably got the best working relationships across state lines that I've ever seen.
Right, we do. I mean, back when I first started, we didn't. I knew of, back in our mid-'80s, Phillip Street, but I never knew Phillip. And I think he, when I got elected sheriff, I think he and I actually started this.
Right.
We did
doing a show here.
Show at night,
Right.
I'd come down and. One thing I didn't like about it, he'd take calls live, and you get persecuted on the air and trying to defend yourself, and it's hard to defend yourself when you don't know the
right. You don't have all the
facts in the case.
Well, I think it probably started there.
Of course, Phillip done a good job defending himself. He was Philip was just Philip, wasn't it? I'll let it go at that.
Yeah. And for those of you maybe wondering, he former sheriff. He's still in law enforcement.
Yeah.
He runs the detention facility for Sheriff Wilson in Walker County.
Yeah.
So he's still doing that.
You know, he calls me every now and then and keeps saying, come down and buy you lunch. But I'm going to have to take him up on that offer because I'll never make it down there. But I'm going to surprise him one day and show up down there and make him buy lunch.
Well, I think for years, and it still happens, of course, but people, the criminal element kind of. They use the state lines and the county lines to their advantage, or at least they thought they was. But y'all have really done a great job all over DeKalb, Jackson, Marion, Dade, Hamilton. I mean, wherever it reaches out to work together and taking that little thing away from them.
Yeah, we have. I know Sheriff Burnett and Chuck Phelps, Jackson County, and several of us get together and have a meeting. We got a quarterly meeting coming up next month, and we've made a lot of arrests right after those meetings.
He called back. I don't know if he contacted you about had changed the date because that where we had our meeting that was going to be couldn't be used that day, so he put it off for a week. I think it was March the 26th, somewhere around there. I've got to get that out to my guys.
That is good news.
One thing we couldn't figure out whose time it was to buy.
Right. I think it's his time.
Yeah, that's
we'll
what I
say that
told
anyway,
him.
Sheriff.
But I told him you stick together. I said, Sheriff, I'm not trying to throw you on the bus, but I believe it's yours. And he said, well, okay. So
Well, that
we
is
have it at Mud Creek.
Oh, that's a good place. Yeah.
Well, they do a good job, don't they?
They do.
They have a room off to
Yeah,
the
the
back.
back,
We all
yeah.
get back there, and then they bring the food in these things, and then it's good food and good time.
Absolutely. I'll be coming.
I told Chuck I wasn't going to eat breakfast that morning. May not even eat supper the night before.
Get really hungry. That's for
Get
that
my
is
money's
for
worth
sure.
out of him.
You got any flooding going on in your county right now?
Oh, no. Well, I was looking at it this morning and talking to some of the guys. I mean, we're teetering.
I know you got
What
one
I'm worried
road
about is
that
next-
washed away last week.
What I'm worried about is, next 24 hours, maybe 48 hours, because, right now it looks like it's going to clear up, but according to the weather, I think it's supposed to get
A couple more inches, yeah.
I'm really getting concerned about it because, we were backed up before this last rainfall, and I was just looking at some places and I'm coming over here, and it's just, we can't stand much more, but I guess we'll just wait and see what happens.
I just hope we don't get any wind because the
Yeah.
ground being saturated like it is, we have a lot of
Gonna have trees.
trees.
We had a big one on Wilton Mountain. I was talking to the officer, and it was big as a car. Just
Wow.
big around oak tree. I think
Been
he
there a
said.
long time.
Been there many, many years, but it fell straight over the highway and took out power lines and everything. So, you're right. The soil's going to be saturated, and we're supposed to get some possible storms. Late Wednesday night, early into Thursday morning.
Yeah, I
I'm
think you're
afraid
right.
we may have a lot of trees down and stuff Thursday morning.
Well, we're talking about the weather. What'd you think of the snow?
Well, I got up about 6 o'clock Saturday morning and looked outside, and it's kind of flurries. When I looked back out about 7, and it was snowing. And about 8 o'clock, I got up and went down to the local restaurant to eat. I always go down there and get all the news, and tell me what I need to do. And I looked out, and it just kept snowing and kept snowing. So I left there and went to dispatch, and then we were swamped. Y'all shut the interstate down here in Georgia.
Yeah, you
I
called
tried
me.
to call him and say, open that interstate up. We need to really. And he called me back, and then I think he was making a snowman when you said
I could have been, yeah. Or sledding or something.
Yeah, that's at least it was alleged that you were making a snowman that
Alleged.
morning.
But we had cars stuck everywhere for about 2 or 3 hours, and then we was trying to tell people to stay home, and it just, it snowed. I mean, about 3 hours?
That's the biggest snow we've had in a while.
It was pretty. It was pretty.
Just didn't last long.
And
Gone
by,
by 2.
and by
wasn't
1 or 2 o'clock,
Yeah.
it was gone. That was perfect.
Yeah.
It
In the
was
valleys,
really,
we don't
really
get it
nice.
like that. It's
Right.
the mountains that usually get it, but we've got a good snow.
Well, for the weather, if the temperature dropped down there 3 or 4 more degrees, we would have been in trouble.
I
Because it was
have,
a wet snow, it was kind of.
Right. It's great when it snows and the power doesn't go out.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
That's
my
best.
father-in-law lives with us, and he's from Denver in Littleton, and he's staying with us right now. And And I woke up and went out, and it was about 7:30, and he was out there. It was already a couple, 2 or 3 inches, snowing pretty. And I said, "You woke up in Denver this morning." He just laughed. I said, "It did kind of look like Denver to him," and because he's very used to snow throughout the years.
You know, it kind of reminded me, I guess both of y'all can remember the blizzard '93. You know,
Oh, yeah.
I was working at South Pittsburgh then, but I was off. But it started snowing that night, and we
70
watched it.
degrees the day before. I'll
Right.
never forget it. I was on the ambulance.
Everything just kind of worked together, made a perfect storm, as they say. You know, and it started snowing that night, and woke up the next morning, it's still snowing. It snowed all day, and then snowed. Just
Thunder,
kept
lightning.
snowing.
Oh, yeah.
snow.
And the
Certainly.
temperature was about 25, 26 degrees, and it was a mess.
It was really quiet for about 2 days. We didn't even have hardly a call, and then all of a sudden it broke loose. And I remember trying to drive from we picked up it was off the mountain because one of the rescue had brought a gentleman having chest pains off one of the mountains. I can't remember. I think it was Lookout. It took me about an hour and 20 minutes to drive all the way to Chattanooga. And my roughest part was on the interstate. We going downtown to Erlanger because there was so many stranded cars all over the road. And literally I would have to like 2 miles an hour go down, and I was working a maze. It took forever to work a maze and all that snow, but I finally got to the hospital with a patient. I'll never forget that. It was we got him to the hospital, and I can't remember who it was, but that was a long trip to get up there. But it was like working a maze with all the stranded cars on the interstate. It was wild.
Cars are sitting there for days.
Certainly was. We'll take our first break. Lots more still to come. Thanks for being here on Sheriff Talk. We'll have more after this.
The Moore family name has built a legacy of trust, compassion, and peace of mind by standing with families during time of loss. Now in our 70th year, the Moore family commitment grows even stronger, from affordable traditional services to cremation. Our experienced staff stands ready to follow through on you and your family's wishes. Since 1945, the Moore family of funeral homes, North Sand Mountain and Trenton, always dedicated to those we serve.
Landers McClarty Ford, Fort Payne, Alabama, home of America's hardest working truck. Right now, find that Ford F-150 XLT 2019 MSRP price $46,215. Only $35,744 at Landers McClarty Ford. See them today. 0% financing up to 72 months. The home of America's hardest working truck. Landers McClarty Ford, 1916 Glen Boulevard, Fort Payne, Alabama. On the web at Landers McClarty Ford, FortPayne.net.
So you've decided to go to college. That's cool. So pop quiz. Which is a better way to earn your degree? Commute to college and fill your gas tank, get stuck in traffic, drive in bad weather, try to find a parking space, walk a half mile to class, or learn online at Independence University. In the park on a bench, on the beach on a towel, or on your couch with your kid, your campus is wherever you want it to be. You don't go to college. College goes to you. That's independence. That's Independence University. You schedule classes around your schedule, and all your supplies, including a brand new laptop and tablet, are included with tuition. At Independence U, you'll learn from professional instructors with real work experience. You'll get personal support in school and employment assistance when you graduate. Get your degree, but keep your life. That's independence. That's Independence University. So if you're really smart, you'd call now.
1-877-285-5965.
Independence U, for an independent you.
1-877-285-5965.
Come enjoy pizza for lunch or dinner in a family-friendly atmosphere at Stevie B's Pizza in Fort Payne. Enjoy the buffet and salad bar anytime, or have a specialty pizza made to order. At Stevie B's, take advantage of Two-Stamp Tuesday for adult and senior buffets, and Thirsty Thursdays when drinks are free after 4 p.m. Take out any medium pizza weekdays between 2 and 5 for just $4.49. And on the weekends, take out any 2 large pizzas just $14.99. Book your parties now by calling Stevie B's at 256-979-1234. Stevie B's Pizza, 2200 Galt Avenue North, Fort Payne.
Back now to Sheriff Talk here on KWN. I didn't ask you, Sheriff, but you've still got a couple of roads that are closed because of flooding, and got barricades up. And
Yeah, Sells Lane always floods at Creek Road, around the flight park. those always flood when we have a lot of rain. So
I did notice, and I thought it was a good thing, that Dade County Schools, because of the flooding there on Sales Lane, the subdivision right behind Dade County High School, they've left that gate open. Now, of course, the school's closed today because of flooding, but they normally keep that gate closed, for the school property, but they've opened it for the citizens in that subdivision that can have the alternate way out. So I thought that was good of them
that's a good idea.
to be able to do that, and I think they sent out a notice to everybody reminding them that, if you travel this road, I mean, there's going to be students out walking, and it's part of their parking lot. So, but anyway, I thought it was good that they opened that up to do that.
We were talking about off the air about gates across county road and stuff and boundary line disputes. I'm sure you're like we are. We get a lot of calls, people have boundary line disputes, and they don't understand that the officer, all he can do is just do a report. It amazes me how many calls we get on that stuff. You get a lot of those.
Yeah, and those are civil
They're
matters.
civil matters, but you can't make people understand. Well, I had it surveyed. This is my property. Well,
what I tell them, my
Go to
deputies,
court.
My deputies can't read plats. They
Right.
can't read deeds and all
Right.
that stuff. So they have
and
to
we
get
don't have
attorneys
the
involved.
authority to make that decision.
Right.
That's the reason you have to go to in Tennessee. You have to go to Chancery Court, and that's who handles those boundary lines. But we get a lot of calls, and I've seen them get violent over
Oh yeah.
something I wouldn't give two thoughts about. And we had a shootout years ago, and actually happened in Whitwell, but it was over a boundary line dispute on Whitwell Mountain between a man and his brother-in-law over I think it come to find out it's about a foot strip down the. I thought I wouldn't fight with over a foot.
I know that we've got one right now going on over close to your county, over in Coast City Holler, that they put up a gate, and the county commissioner went over there and told them they can't do that.
Right.
It's a right of way over there.
Right.
So they kept on and on. They finally, the deputy arrested them. And,
Right.
so they wrote a big long letter about it and everything. But they think it's their property, but it's not. So it's actually county property. So they're going to have to go to court and get it all straightened out.
And I know it does get confusing if you own a piece of property and you're on a county road or you're on a state road or whatever, and a lot of people don't understand that from the center line back so far there's a right of way.
Yeah.
You have
for
to
the
have a
city and
right
the
of way
county.
for your utilities
Right.
and things like that.
And it may be 6 or 7 feet over on what you perceive as your property, but that's where the telephone pole's at, and they've got to have a right of way, or they'd have to ask you to come on your property every time.
Yeah.
So that's I guess it's different for county. There's different roads have different right of way, whether it's 60 feet or 90 feet from the center line or whatever. But and I've heard that for years. I mean, people, they get into some kind of dispute like that, and they call law enforcement thinking that y'all can help. But it really is a civil matter.
It is. And that's where, they don't want to have to pay to get an attorney, but attorneys have to get involved when it comes to that, property disputes. And it's just one of those things that we can't handle. It's a civil matter, not criminal.
That just something came up in my mind when you were talking about property. A lot of people don't understand that, like the state of Georgia, without animal control laws, is what it's called a right to roam state. And as long as an animal doesn't tear up your property, and correct me if I'm wrong, that if there's domestic or wild animals on your property, you can't arbitrarily just do something about them.
Right.
Because it's called a right to roam state, and you can't put up a no trespassing sign and expect a dog to understand it.
Unless they're being aggressive.
Right, aggressive, or they're tearing up your property.
Then that gives them authority to protect themselves.
Right.
It's kind of like
and
anything
their
else.
property.
Yeah.
Right, and a lot of people don't understand that without any. And I don't know how it is in Tennessee.
Well, actually, there's a state law on running at large, and we enforce it somewhat, but we try to get people, just put your dogs up. Our problem is in subdivisions. When people have dogs and don't keep them up, or like I said, areas that's where people live close together, it creates a lot of problems. But we don't. I just don't have personnel to get out here and do that. We don't have animal control in the county, so basically it makes it rough on us sometimes when we have complaints, and we usually try to go to the homeowner and work with them and everything, and then if they're just defiant, we end up having to cite them to court. But, you get into problems with dogs. And, a few years ago, we had complaints, it seemed like every week, on horses not being taken care of and things. And, again, if you get in those situations, if you take an animal in custody, you got to be able to take care of it. And I don't have facilities to do that, so we try to do the negotiating thing, try to work it out. And sometimes if we have to take an animal, especially horses, we got people in the county that will come, and we can call them and come and get them and house them there until we can get it resolved in court. But sometimes animals problems can cause a lot.
I know that last year I remember you having the horse story, or the story of the 2 or 3 horses out on Sand Mountain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we did. We called the Department of Agriculture, and they came in and found a place that would keep the horses till they could get.
Do you have any update at all? I mean, a couple
no.
of times I'd heard, but it's been a long time since I've heard.
It's been a while. Last I heard, they were doing fine.
And it was like one of them had died, and then y'all were able to save 2 of them.
Save 2 of them. Yeah.
Put them in the, and that's an unfortunate.
Well,
thing.
you'll see people drive through the county. You'll see people that's got a horse and they got it in the front yard in a little lot that's no bigger than this inside this building. And I'm sitting there going, why would you? I always thought if you had a horse, something like that, you wanted at least to have 3 or 4 acres to run in.
Yeah.
But
They say a horse needs at least an acre.
Yeah,
So.
but I mean, I've seen them in small pens, and I'm just going, I wish I wouldn't do that. But if they got them feed and water, ain't much you can do about it. But still, awful small area to have an animal that big in.
Yeah, and I'm assuming both. Well, I know that Dave, because I hear it a lot, and it's always been, you get a lot of animal calls.
Do.
Yeah. We do, and like I say, we don't have an ordinance or anything in the county to.
Y'all have animal control? We don't either.
I think the only that you do have, I guess, back after you call the city, if it's a vicious dog,
Yeah,
they'll
it's
come
vicious.
out and.
We have to pay to, have animal control to come out from the city. But that's the only time we can really do anything is if it's an aggressive dog or somebody's been bit.
We've had several incidents where aggressive dogs are in people's yards, and the homeowner had to shoot them, and we've ended up having an officer had to go up there with a garbage bag or something and get them, and we had to send them to Nashville to have them checked for rabies. It's kind of gross the way you have to do it, but we have to take it to a local vet, and then he'll do what he has to do to send the parts of the dog off to get him checked. It's the brain, the part that you have to check, but end up county has to pay for that. Now it's $300 or $400 time you do all that. So we've had 4 or 5 incidents where we've had to do that because, and like I said, we try to do a lot of negotiation. If it's a dog that's bit a kid or something, if it's somebody you can negotiate with, have them put them up for a couple of weeks and just to verify that they're not got any kind of rabies or anything. So it could be touchy sometimes.
You're watching Sheriff Talk here on KWN TV. Got another break coming up. Stay with us. Lots more to come with the sheriffs.
Gigabit Internet residential service is now available to customers of the North Alabama Electric Co-op with NAEC Fiber in Jackson and Marshall County. Residential gig service is now available for only $79.95. Call today to have your gig service installed at 256-437-5000. High-speed fiber residential gig internet service now available to customers of the North Alabama Electric Co-op with NAEC Fiber. Business and commercial customers can get gig service too. Call for pricing 256-437-5000. Gig service from North Alabama Electric Co-op. 256-437-5000.
The Big Jet Fly. I need somebody get back. Honk a cat. Where you talking about the time I go? 5, 4, 6, 2, 4. Rolling on the river. Big Jet fashions and gas. Till I reach the highest ground. The Big Jet Fly. WFI.
NL Tax and Bookkeeping is ready to serve all of your tax needs. Nancy Anderton's been serving the tri-state area since 1978. Now you can get your taxes prepared with no out-of-pocket expenses. Ask about up to a $1,200 refund advance. It's fast, easy, safe, and convenient. NL Tax and Bookkeeping is open 8:30 a.m. till 6:30 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday, and 8:30 a.m. till 2 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. questions about the Affordable Care Act? We have those answers too. And we offer a free form price comparison. Experienced and professional tax services. NL Tax and Bookkeeping, 500 Alabama Highway 73, 7 miles from downtown Trenton. Call today at 706-657-4758 or 256-597-2829. NL Tax and Bookkeeping, 706-657-4758 or 256-597-2829.
Hey, that cold weather is coming, and it's never too early to get your winter supplies from Rising Fawn Hardware and Supply, 4300 Highway 11 South in Rising Fawn. Everything you need to wrap pipes under the house, winterize around the doors, make sure your outside faucets are protected, and keep those drafts from coming through the windows. Get your supplies for fall and winter for the home and farm today. Rising Fawn Hardware and Supply, 4300 Highway 11 South in Rising Fawn. Telephone 706-462-2071.
Back now to KWN and Sheriff Talk as we continue this program this week. Just this past week in Dade County, the commission passed I don't know if it's ordinance or exactly what they were calling it, to designate Dade County a Second Amendment sanctuary. And I know were a proponent of that. Your name was talked about during the commission meeting. Tell us a little bit about what that.
Yeah, it's not an ordinance, and it's a resolution. A lot of counties and states around the United States have passed these resolutions through the county commission. It doesn't affect me either way. I took an oath to uphold the Constitution of Georgia and the United States, and that's what I'll do. I'll do what the Second Amendment says. And
I think it was either Grundy or Squatchy County. It was the first one that I'd heard do that around. Grundy County?
I think it's actually on the agenda for our meeting in February to make Marion County a gun sanctuary. And I actually have been doing a little studying on it. There's 17 states that have what they call red flag laws, where an officer or a person can feel like maybe somebody that they know or in the family is a danger, and they can petition the court to have the officer go to their house and remove their guns. And the thing about that is that, are we chipping away at the Second Amendment? I mean, I don't know about Ray, but I mean, as far as taking guns off the street, we take hundreds every year, but these are people that are drug dealers and things like that. People don't. But I'm always been in favor. If you're just a person that goes out and works every day, and I have a lot of guns. I love guns just to collect them. But there's 17 states in the United States that right now have passed those red flag laws, and that.
Think about those, Bo. If you got two people mad at somebody, they
Right.
go and petition that and take their
That's
guns.
the problem, and I've seen the courts. I've seen people use the courts because so and so is mad at so and so, and they go down there and file a warrant or something, and like when time for court or whatever, then they don't show up, and it takes. The good example I was talking to the district attorney about it is domestic assault, which. The statute now says if officer called to a domestic assault, he shall make an arrest. Shall, and I've seen a couple of instances where the judge had thought it was serious enough that, he ordered the guns removed from the house. Well, every one of them I've been involved in, people come and turn them in, and what we do, we hold them till this situation gets resolved either by divorce or whatever. But like I said, domestic assault. Statute in Tennessee says you shall make an arrest. Well, a month or 2 months later, when they finally go to court, 50% of them, 60% of them show up, and say, "Hey, we've resolved it. We don't," and they end up getting dismissed. And they're, because if you get arrested for domestic assault, you automatically, right then you're banned from buying a gun or anything. It's really got a lot of teeth to it. And I just, I called our Attorney General about this red flag law, and there was 2 state legislators that introduced it back in December, and he says it would never pass through the legislature. So I think Grundy County passed it, but he said Squatchy County and Ray County right now we're tabling it to see what the legislature is going to do. You know, if it fails, then there's nothing. But basically, that's the way I read it. You about the same, Sheriff?
Yeah, and in Georgia, in our legislature, we've got about 24 gun laws that they're trying to pass up there. None of them been into committees yet, or none of them have been on the floor.
Yeah.
Probably won't.
I think this in here is still in the Judicial Committee. You know, it may not ever make it to the floor because the session is going to end here in a month or two. So,
Yeah, in Georgia, State Bill 281 is on the table now. Not even in a committee, but one of the senators is trying to get this law passed. And one of the parts of this law, there's 3 parts to it, and the second part of it is to confiscate every semi-automatic gun, and that includes about every handgun that a person owns. So, and I talked with Colton Moore, our state representative, and he said he don't see it ever getting even to the floor.
I don't understand a legislator won't pass that realistically. How would you do that?
Yeah, I don't.
There's no way that I'm going to take my officers and have them go house to house and seize gun. That's just
Right.
That's
Not going to happen.
That ain't going to happen. No.
No, I don't know. If
I
any should.
encourage people to have a gun and a
Exactly.
weapon at home.
I
You
do
know,
too.
if you're the biggest problem I see is, if you see incidents that probably mental health or drug abuse or something that leads to. But as far as a man or woman having a gun at home, or even in Tennessee now, you can have a gun in your car. And
I want to see them do away in Georgia with the, the permits, charging people for permits, because, it's their Second Amendment right to carry guns, and why are we profiting off of the individuals that they have to go pay money to carry a gun when it's their right to do it? So I just don't agree with that law.
Well, I don't. When you go to get a gun permit, we'll use Georgia because you're probably more familiar with that. I mean, you actually have to get fingerprinted. You have to, give all the information. They do a background check. Make sure you're not a felon. Because you can't own a gun if you got a felony or whatever. I mean, but I think it's a $45 fee or $75 or something. $75 fee.
70 something.
I can see, charging people to be able to execute their Second Amendment right, But on the other hand, I mean, your department has to, I don't know if you get any of the money, but, you got to have the labor of, a detention officer fingerprinting and, doing
I
all
understand
of
the
that.
filing fees and stuff, but I don't know that it should be that high. That just didn't seem reasonable to me.
And maybe, have a form if you don't have the money, then you could, ask for a waiver.
Of course, what's happened over the years is years ago, the sheriffs had authority to issue handgun permits. Of course, I think in Alabama you still do it. I think I'm right, but in Tennessee used to, the sheriff could do it back to the mid-'90s, and then state figured out they could make a bunch of money off of it, so they took that authority away from the sheriff through the legislature. And to get a handgun permit now in Tennessee, you're probably going to cost you right around $300.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And I think Tennessee, they have to go through a class, don't they?
Yeah.
Too?
But I think they changed the law. I've been trying to do some research on it, and that you can do an online thing, probably application stuff. But the background check actually comes to us. We get a whopping $15 for it. State gets the rest of it. So, but I don't see and I guess it's kind of topped out or whatever you call it, because 3 or 4 years ago we was getting 30 or 40 a month. Now we get maybe 10 a month. So there's a lot of people with handgun permits, but I'm like you, why should a person spend money for something that they got legal rights to do? I don't think you're going to find a sheriff or chief anywhere that's going to be against people not being able to buy a firearm, keep them in their house, or keep themselves safe. I just don't think you're going to find anybody for it.
No, I don't either. And
Well, the Chicago and them, I was looking at it, in the Tennessee handgun permit, there's 13 states in the United States that doesn't recognize it. Every state that borders Tennessee
has reciprocity or
right.
whatever.
We honor his and he honors ours. But it was like Illinois, New York, a lot of those states in the Northeast, New Hampshire and Massachusetts, they don't recognize. But what's, my understanding, those restrictions on buying firearms in those jurisdictions are really strict. But they have more gun problems than we do.
Sure do.
Oh, I think it's been, you see a lot of
Illinois
like
has got some-
Chicago
they
has
got-
got some of the strictest gun laws in the nation,
Right.
and their
But it's
murder
not-
rate is
it's
through the
highest
roof.
in the nation.
Baltimore, Maryland, same way. I mean,
Yeah.
Of course, you know.
That shows you there that gun laws don't work. So
Well, I mean, y'all heard it and seen it and live it. A locked door only keeps an honest person out.
that's right.
If you go buy, if you want to go buy a handgun today, there's the background check is instant. In Tennessee, I'm assuming in Georgia too. I remember years ago you had to have a 3-day waiting period to do investigation. I always thought, well, who's going to have the personnel to do investigation? So now TBI and FBI does it, and you go to a gun shop in Tennessee and buy a handgun. If you're not, fill out the form. If you're not a felon or a adjudicated mental health problems or whatever, you can walk out that gun in 20 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So I don't have a problem with that.
Well, technology is really, that's has really come a long way. It's probably one of the best tools that law enforcement has today is the technology where, years ago that you'd run a tag and you'd have to go manually look it up and read it off the tag receipt, which I've done, to the point that you're now running registrations and checking insurance on your computer in your patrol car.
When I started to run a registration check, you had a little microfilm thing. You put it on this little thing and move it around till you could find that tag number.
I don't think it's been that long ago when I first started. They would get a tag receipt would be in like triplicate, and one of the receipts out of it you'd get one, and then they'd want to be on file in the tag office, and then the sheriff's department would get one of those receipts, and we had to file those in a drawer in dispatch. And if you stopped a car, then we would have to go look that tag up, pull it out, and read it off the tag receipt. That's it's come a long way.
You look back to late 70s and early 80s. It was where we're at now. It was crude back then. Crude. We just didn't have much to work with.
Yeah.
I told you. I tell this story. Back when I first started. Of course, it wasn't cell phones like they are now, and then. We had Station A and Station B, and what that was phone booths. And they dispatch holler said, "Go Station A and call me. I'll call you." And you pull up and the phone rings.
Well, yeah, because the officer would run out of quarters, so you had to call.
See, back then, if dispatch called to the phone booth, it was free. Now, if you had to call, you had to put a quarter in. So we'd pull up there, and then the phone ring. They said, "Hey, we'll need to go talk to so and so. It's a lot of stuff you don't want to put on the radio." Of course, back then. Everybody had a scanner, and we went to a new radio system a couple years ago, and then there's can't be heard on scanners, And those people got mad at me because I didn't realize that, some people that's their life sitting there listening to a scanner.
Well, absolutely.
I don't do that much myself, but I mean, and I can understand an older person shut in and everything. That was entertainment to them, listening to it.
Of course, I'm sure on in the county.
I'm sure technology before long would catch up, and somebody will be able to come up with something to listen to our new system.
Well, I mean, in Dade County, and I've got an app here that I can listen to. Well, same way we can listen
phone,
to law enforcement on the phone.
Yeah, I was actually at a gun show in Chattanooga Sunday, and there's some guys, and I was telling them about my phone, and I punched it in, and then it wasn't. I didn't get it in good till an officer stopped the car, and he said, "That guy said, where they at?" And I said, "Powell's Crossroads," and I was over in on Brainerd Road, at a gun show, and he said, "I can't believe that." And I said, "Well, if you got internet service with this phone, you can hear it if you're sitting in California, as long as you got internet service." And people say, "Well, I didn't
There's
know
about
that."
a 15-20 minute lag time that on your phone if you pull that app up, then what's really being broadcast. So if you got a radio sitting there and listen to it, it'll take about 15-20 seconds before you hear it.
Oh, I thought you said minutes. Start saying.
Well, you did first. So you
I think
15 seconds.
this lag is maybe better than that, like 3 or 4 seconds. Because I can have the phone in my car and have the police radio on, and they holler, and then in 3 seconds it hollers again over the phone. Right. So that's your lag breakdown.
I think mine's. I mean, I've noticed maybe 3 to 5 seconds. I'll hear it here in the studio, and then my phone will be 3 to 5 seconds. And I guess it varies depending on where you're at and the speed of the internet.
Right, speed of the internet.
To be able to do that. But technology has really, really done it's done great for law enforcement, and of course it's brought its share of problems too for fraud. For investigations that y'all have to do. We'll take another break. Stay with us. Lots more to come here on Sheriff Talk.
Georgia Northwestern Technical College is now accepting applications for classes. We offer programs in business, health, industrial, and public service at 6 campus locations with financial aid options as well. Take day, evening, or online classes to get your degree, diploma, or certificate. Apply now. Drop by one of our campuses today or check us out at gntc.edu. Georgia Northwestern Technical College. When you or a loved one is facing a life-limiting illness, hospice care may be the answer. At Tapestry Hospice, the patient is the focus of our care. We are here to serve you and facilitate your wishes. Tapestry caregivers are concerned with managing your pain, keeping you in touch with your physician, and helping you make plans for the future. Hospice is life-affirming, and Tapestry Hospice can help you deal with all aspects of life, mind, body, and soul. Call Tapestry Hospice for more information. 706-383-8812. That's 706-383-8812. Tapestry Hospice. Redefining hope. Can you gig it? Oh, yes, you can. We know you've been waiting for a long time, and now Tennessee Valley Net is bringing it to you. Gigabit internet service now available in certain areas of Dade County. Not just fast, super fast internet service now available from Tennessee Valley Net. People are talking, I mean really smiling about gig speed internet available in limited areas from Tennessee Valley Net. Call today at 706-657-4367 or log on at tvn.net and see if gig speed is available where you are. We know you'll gig it from Tennessee Valley Net. Have lunch or dinner at Guthrie's, home of the original golden fried chicken finger and the best chicken finger sauce in the world. Guthrie's can help you plan your family's meals or get-togethers with bucket specials every Tuesday, those delicious wings on Wednesday, and platters every day of the week. Plus, get sweet tea by the gallon. Remember, Guthrie's has a party room for small gatherings, too. Guthrie's, Highway 136 West in Trenton, home of those golden fried chicken fingers and the best chicken finger sauce in the world.
Guthrie's, not fast food, good food fast.
Here's a great way to save money on your prescription medications. If you take Viagra or Cialis, we can give you a way to pay as little as $2 a pill. Compare that to prices as high as $60 per tablet. Call now with your prescription and pay as little as $2 a pill. We offer 24/7 service and always free delivery and confidential packaging. Call Pharmacy Shop 24/7 to get generic versions of Viagra or Cialis for as little as $2 a pill, plus free discreet shipping.
Back to Sheriff Talk here on KWN, and we were talking off the air. Actually, Sheriff and I, Sheriff Cross, was talking about before you got here, Sheriff, about you talk about the war on drugs. Now, you've seen some of the candidates that were running for sheriff saying that we need to win the war on drugs and legalize drugs. Well, to me, that's giving in.
Well,
and forgetting about the war.
You know, I don't want to. You know, I'm not going to get involved in the politics of president stuff, but you know, those decisions they make are going to affect our profession, don't you think,
Yeah.
Ray?
Yeah.
You know, I've heard them say, you know, we need to, you know, been a waste of money, war on drugs, and I always say, you know, you don't see what we see. I mean, it ruins families. It, you know, costs thousands of dollars, and you know, we don't want to put people in jail, but I don't, you know, if you just decriminalize everything, I'm just believing that it's going to get. I mean, it's bad now. You know, probably both of us, 80% of what we do is drugs. Everything is drugs.
Yeah.
You know, and
there's consequences to everything you
Right.
do, and you know, if you just legalize it because everybody's doing it, that doesn't make it right. I mean,
your overdoses are going to rise. Your
Sure.
crime's going to rise because probably
let
60
these people go to these families that we go to, bro,
Right.
and tell them they just lost a son or daughter because
You know,
of
people get
drugs.
mad at me. They'll come to them. They don't understand that. You know, if they got a relative that's got a drug problem, they think you can just grab them up by the nape of the neck, take them up there before the court, and the judge said you're going to get treatment. Well, there's not a lot of money for treatment nowhere. You know, I see where a lot of people get 120 days in jail, and then the order will say, you know, last 30 to be spent in rehab. Well, they send them over here to CADIS, which nothing against CADIS, but 30 days, and they're out. You know what happens on the 31st day? That's the biggest possibility they'll overdose because they've been without for 30 days, and the day they get out. Because I've sat through those classes, and the professors are saying, you know, it takes a year for your mind to get to the point that, you know, you might be able to handle not wanting the drugs.
Yeah, and I'll share this, and I don't know if I've ever talked about it. I mean, it's been 35 years since I smoked a cigarette. You know,
Still got the want, don't you?
But every now and then, after you eat, my mind will still saying, you know, a cigarette would be good. I mean, I ain't smoked one in 35
I've always,
years.
You know, I've always.
But your mind will bring it to you.
But I've always
Not all the
assumed.
time, but
I've
it still
always
does.
assumed that the want for drugs is a whole lot stronger than the want for cigarettes.
Yeah, and I'm sure it is.
I'm sure it is, but I'm like you. I mean, I know people that's, you know, a buddy of mine. He been quit about 10 years, but he said he does like this every time I'm talking to him because he always carried them in his front pocket. And if you ever notice when you're talking to him, subconsciously he's always But you know, he says the want for me is as bad today as it was 10 years ago. So
I don't have that, but every now and then, if you know that it'll just won't happen at every meal, but every now and then
But you know, it just really irritates me. Like I said, I don't want to get political, you know, but it just irritates me when politicians say, "Well, you know, we're not winning the war on drugs. We just need to legalize everything." I was thinking, you talk about chaos. Go ahead and do that. Your ERs.
I don't understand where they
your
want
ERs will be full. Your jails won't be full because they won't be charged. But I mean, you're just going. That's my thoughts. It's just going to create chaos everywhere. I'm against it 100%. Aren't you sure?
100%.
Don't want to put you on the spot, but
No,
I
agree.
and I don't think you'll find anybody in law enforcement that would agree with that.
Now, I don't understand what their thinking behind it. You know, just wanting to eliminate the war on drugs. I mean, I saw a couple of them being pressed by reporters and say, "Are you saying heroin and methamphetamine
Decriminalize
to
all
it?"
of
And
it.
they wouldn't respond by saying no. You know, I don't know. You know, that just blew my mind that, you know, they would think it would be okay.
You know, I think even as sheriffs and a local office, we still have to, you know, follow what people that are running for president or Senate or Congress, you know, what's their thoughts on things like this? Because, you know, their votes and everything could affect us down the road.
Now, that's not to say we won't help them when they get in jail, but we'll put them in jail. But you know, we'll try to get them help if we can.
But there's not a lot of money out there for that
No,
stuff
there's not.
anymore.
No.
It's not like it used to be.
See, you know, and this is a personal opinion. I think that the drug pushers and the distributors out there, I think we should make their punishment more stricter.
Right.
It's not strict enough if they're still doing it.
Well, I don't know. If these people that are running for office are talking about the dealers or stuff or the everyday users.
I think they're talking about users from what I've seen. Now, I hope that they.
Well,
haven't
I
talked
seen where,
about
you know,
that,
one of
but-
them, some of them want to do away with the bail system. You know, where if you're charged for something, you know, you just go in and get booked and turn you loose. Well, we can't. We spend half our time arresting people for failure to appear that got booked. Do you see that a lot of that?
A lot of it.
We spend our time. I tell people we spend more of our time going after people that's already in the system, and don't have time to go after the people, the new people, because we're having the violations and failure to appear.
Violators. We have more of that than anything. People get put on probation, kind of like a second chance, and they'll go here and violate, and then have to be rearrested. So
I was looking at the booking yesterday, and I was curious to see how many females we got because we were old crowd on females, but I can go through there and look at their charges, and every one of them, I think there was 32 in there, and all 32 of them was violations, where they had community corrections or whatever, and you know, courts have been lenient and let them out, and I mean, they just don't follow rules and regulations and get violated. And usually on the second or third violation, they'll no bond them. Then they're sitting there in jail, and I don't know. I just, you know, I tell people bond is not a form of punishment. Bond is to guarantee that you show up in court. You know, people get mad at me if they have something bad happen and the bond isn't as high as they think it should be. And I said, you know, the bond's not for punishment. Bond is to guarantee that you show up in court. I said, only way a judge can deny a bond if you can show he's a flight risk or a danger, he can deny a bond. But if we didn't have a bonding system, we would be in trouble. But I've seen where was it New York that now that you're just arrested and booked and released,
I think it's
given the
correct.
court date and stuff. And I don't know. I'm sure people ain't showing up
Of course
because
not.
they don't show up when they make bond through a bonding company or whatever. So you can imagine if you don't have any examples. I mean, any way for them to guarantee that they come back to court. I just don't believe these people are going to come back to court. Then again, you're going to have to spend more money and more personnel out here running them down again the second, and third, and fourth time.
Right.
Yeah, I just don't realize that, especially on the the drugs and stuff. But a lot of people don't realize, not really changing the subject, but if you stop a violator and you write them a ticket, that's actually a bond.
Right.
You're signing. I mean, that's an
Yeah, a lot of
arrest,
people think-
and you're signing it saying, okay, you agreed to go to court.
Yeah, a lot of people think you're signing that you're guilty. No, that don't have nothing to do with you guilty
Right.
or innocent. It's just saying I understand what I've been charged with, and I promise to appear at this date and time
Instead of going to jail.
instead
Right.
of going to jail.
Yeah, so it's an appearance ticket, basically, is what it is. And you're signing that without having to go down and make bond.
Well, we do summons now, so a lot of people that come down and issue a warrant for whatever, they do what they call a criminal summons, and then we end up having to go serve it on them, and they got 10 days to come and turn themselves in. Then when they turn themselves in, they get booked. Then they're given a court date, and then they're released. And then if they don't show up, then the judge will issue a bench warrant, and then that's arrestable offense.
That's you don't want a bench warrant.
No,
Right.
you don't.
But the reason behind that through the legislature was try to speed the process up of, if you're in jail for, we booked probably, I think in December, we booked 180, 190 people, and probably in a year's time, 5,000 or 6,000 people, booked through. And that's what the purpose of the criminal summons for, but sometimes it helps, sometimes it don't. But
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
and I seen where the argument was, we got thousands of people sitting in jail can't make bond. Well, I can see that point, but I don't know. I just know I see we arrest a lot of people for failure to appear.
Well, I think at that point, if you're sitting in jail and can't make bond, you need to have your appointed attorney to file a quick trial to get you out of there.
Well, in Tennessee, if you can't make bond within 10 days, you have to go before the judge. Well, they do that by taking him up, and he'll sign them, public defender usually, because that's who they have to. But once that's done, then it's out of our hands. That's up to the public defender.
Right.
They still sit in jail.
I know that. I guess Tennessee does, but Georgia still has the right to a speedy trial.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's everywhere.
Yeah.
So the attorney should then turn around and file right to a speedy trial and get you out if you can't make.
Of course, what most people don't realize, the attorney will waive that. So they can waive that, and then because right to a speedy trial, I've never seen a speedy trial.
Not me.
I mean, it's just the opposite.
Don't really know what that.
I don't know.
What's the definition of
I've
that
heard
is,
that.
but-
You have a right to a speedy trial, and I thought, well, I wish they would have more speedy trials.
And I've seen several bonds denied. They go in front of the Superior Court judge and he'll deny a bond. And
Yeah,
it's
that's
happened
true.
several times.
All right, our last break. We'll have more sheriff talk coming up after this.
At Comfort Gallery in Kimball, comfort is the key, and the key to making it easier to sleep, sit, and stand is a new PowerLift chair from Catnapper. Catnapper's PowerLift chairs feature comfort coil seating for long-lasting comfort and a powerful yet smooth, quiet motor. Some models even include heat and massage. It's really comfort at the touch of a button. See the full selection today when you visit Comfort Gallery. Free delivery and setup, 1 year free layaway, and 6 and 12 months same as cash. Available at Comfort Gallery, 780 Main Street, 1 mile north of I-24, exit 152A, Kimball, Tennessee.
When you need a licensed plumber, call Stacy Ledwell and the staff at Mr. Rooter in Scottsboro. Mr. Rooter provides your home or business with advanced solutions using high-tech equipment. Our commitment to customer satisfaction shines through in our personalized service. When you schedule an appointment, our professionals will dedicate time to explain the work that has to be done. Our staff will give you upfront pricing, so you'll know exactly what's involved before any work begins. We even pump septic tanks and do new construction on houses. Fully licensed, bonded, and insured, Mr. Rooter in Scottsboro. Call Stacy Ledwell today to set up an appointment at 256-574-4710. Come hungry and leave satisfied at Cloud's Pizza, Highway 71 in Higdon. Cloud's Pizza uses only the freshest ingredients, and we hand toss our own pizza dough. Our pizzas are made from scratch when you order, so they're always fresh. And don't forget about our famous Sand Mountain cheese sticks. You can eat from the daily buffet or try a mouth-watering hamburger or cheeseburger. Come see your friends at Cloud's Pizza, Highway 71 in Higdon, and never leave hungry. Call ahead at 597-3100 for Cloud's Pizza. Visit us on Facebook at Cloud's Pizza and more.
Come see us at Cloud's Pizza.
Citizens Tri-County Bank, the only community bank Marion Countyans will ever need. At 402 North Cedar Avenue in South Pittsburgh, 4765 Main Street in Jasper, and at 14087 Highway 28 in Whitwell. Providing the highest standard of customer services with a personal touch. Our associates can help you with personal loans, personal lines of credit, a variety of mortgage loans, and more. And we offer real-time internet banking too. See us in South Pittsburgh, Jasper, and Whitwell today. Citizens Tri-County Bank, the only community bank Marion Countyans will ever need. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
A hassle-free, so easy buying experience that you deserve is waiting for you at the all-new Riverside Chevrolet Buick GMC in beautiful Kimball, Tennessee.
Choose from the Chevys, Buicks, and professional-grade GMC trucks.
Get low rates and fast, affordable financing to fit everyone's budget. So come get the best buying experience imaginable.
Where I promise we will make buying a new Chevrolet, Buick, or GMC so easy. Shop us online anytime at Riverside Chevrolet Buick GMC.com.
Back now to Sheriff Talk here on KWN, wrapping things up here on a good program. A lot of great conversation. I hope the folks at home are able to, and I'm sure you did.
Well, I'm sure people will know our thoughts on things like that.
A lot of things, absolutely.
That's Ray and I, and like I said, I think most law enforcement would agree with what we said. We do not want to go to your house and take your guns.
Not going to.
Not going to.
No, that's. I'm glad that. I'm glad we're able to, talk to you, because I think that a lot of folks at home,
Well,
and I know they do.
I've got guns that I've collected over the years, and they're mine. And I mean, I just love old guns. To me, it's just a great thing. And no, I don't want nobody to come get my guns.
Yeah,
they ain't gonna do it. Right, Sheriff?
That's exactly right.
XFL, Sheriff. Did you watch some
I
of it?
watched a little bit of it. I just what'd you say? Went to grow on us?
Yeah, I watched a little bit Saturday, and just a few minutes Sunday. But I can see where, if you're an avid football fan, I mean, some of the players were fresh out of college, and then some of them were seasoned NFL players that maybe are not playing with the team anymore. So I don't know how they picked their teams.
Hey, I went to a hockey game about 3 weeks ago. First, and I ever went to the Nashville Predators, and boy, that's a growing sport.
It is.
There was probably 18, 20,000 people there. Of course, I didn't know what they were doing half the time, but it was just amazed me. They didn't have any fights.
I can't get interested on a score that ends 1-0. I mean, or 2-1. I can't.
Well, the thing I couldn't understand was why they substitute. They just all of a sudden 5 go off and 5 come on, and I'm sitting there, and they play 3 periods instead of 4. But I'm telling you, it was lively, and it just amazed me. What amazed me is the price of the tickets. They were proud of them, as we say.
I heard that. Well, good show today. Thank y'all both, and thank y'all for watching and being a part of the program. We'll continue to enlarge the number of people that can watch this. I will tell you as we go off the air, ITV Chattanooga is a new streaming platform that everybody in the whole world, but if you got relatives in Chattanooga, if they got Roku, Fire TV, Amazon, or smart TVs, iTV Chattanooga. You can watch this on demand. You can watch this program on demand and watch it live on KWN TV. So iTV Chattanooga, and it's a new streaming service. It's absolutely free on Roku, Fire Stick, Apple TV, and Smart TV. So download it today. Sheriff, y'all we got to stay dry the rest of the week.
Got to.
We'll see you back here next week for another edition of Sheriff Talk. You've been watching Sheriff Talk, live from the studios of KWN TV7, all around the tri-state area, as we give you information that you can use concerning law enforcement. Join us again next week for another episode of Sheriff Talk, a public affairs program of KWN TV7.